Okay, Ramblers, let's get rambling.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Dr. Nick.
Some Dumb Guy here, and welcome to episode 43 of SumDumWatch, celebrating the joys of physical media collecting, physical media ownership, and physical media watching, first and foremost. I'm Some Dumb Guy. It's Buddy. We're covering our weekly series. We chronicle what we've watched, physical media library, and theatrical attendances. This will cover the week of July 21st to July 27th. Let's roll, shall we? Before I begin, I apologize if you can hear the background noise. It's a warm evening, really warm. I've got a fan going in the background. I'm hoping that's not coming through too badly. If it is, I apologize. I'll try to filter it out in my editing. Hello. Guest appearance. Sugar is cruising by. She must make her obligatory cameo whether she wants to or not. Come on, Sugar. You better look happy to be here. Come on, Peanut. Come on, don't be so miserable looking like that. The audience loves you. They think you're cute. Be cute for the audience. Oh, don't look all cranky. Okay, here we go. First and foremost, from my homemade 2-pack, I spent some time introducing some people to new movies this week. This time was my 4K of WALL-E, coupled with Finding Nemo in this case, which I did not watch. WALL-E has been a favorite of mine since it first released, I believe in 2008, excuse me. Great, fun movie. I love it. I could rewatch it probably once a week without being tired of it. It's cute, it's adorable, it's touching, it's got a lot of great messaging. Back when the Rodent House knew how to give great positive messaging. Highly recommend if you haven't seen it. Go watch WALL-E. Another introductory film, one I don't really rewatch very often, although I think it's probably the best the Rodent House has put out in the Star Wars canon. We have Rogue One. So this is another one of my homemade slim packaging, streamlined for space-saving purposes. It's my Blu-ray copy. It's got issues, but overall, I like it. It's got a great cast. A few notable standouts there. Unfortunately, the lead character actress is not one of them. Next up is a new watch for me. It was a blind buy when I brought it in from Criterion Collection. I believe it was early this year. I knew nothing about it at all. I think ultimately I purchased it based on the cast. This is a Howard Hawks film, which eventually I'll probably collect his entire filmography, and stars two incredible actors whom I adore. I don't probably have a lot of experience with either of them. I'm working to amend that. This is from 1938. It's a Blu-ray at 102 minutes, black and white. It is Bringing Up Baby. This is a great, great movie. Situational or screwball comedy that is best left undescribed. And I think I went into it pretty much blind. I think maybe I rejected this film or avoided this film for a long time due to what some of you have heard me discuss before, what I call title bias, where sometimes in my life, and this has been through the entirety of my film watching life since I was a kid, there are films that I flat out either rejected or hesitated to watch because there was something with the title that bothered me. It's completely nonsensical. I'm aware of that. I've always been aware of that, but it's there. And whereas it used to control my film watching experiences, now I am actively fighting against it. It still has some influence, but I have to make determined efforts to go, no. And Bringing Up Baby is a silly title, was one of them. But after, I think it's going on about 2 years now maybe, since I saw my very first Cary Grant film. I've now watched a few, loving every bit of it so far. And Katharine Hepburn, who I always thought was a very, very striking lady, but I'd only ever seen her in Rooster Cogburn, which was one of her later films in the 70s. I never really had a really great sense of her, but I was always interested in exploration. So that gave me all the reason I needed. And then finding out that it was a Howard Hawks film as well, which I'm so far, I think I've enjoyed everything I've seen. This became a no-brainer for me, and I'm glad that I picked it up, even gladder that I watched it. Okay, so we're going on a bit of a nostalgia trip here in conjunction with introductions. These are part of some recent pickups that may or may not have been featured in an unboxing video that I've done that has actually aired yet. I don't know. My unboxings get dragged out in time period because I have so much stuff coming out. I just want to keep dumping video after video after video several times a week of unboxing, so I've now been spreading those out kind of like on a weekly release schedule. So I might end up running into situations where I'm presenting it on an episode of SumDumWatch before it's been presented in an episode of SumDumBuys. Long-winded. As a typical, this is a DVD because I think it's the only way it's available. It has never been upgraded. Another screwball comedy. Not quite as exhaustingly so as Bringing a Baby, but at times pretty intense. This one starring Kathleen Turner, Christopher Reeve, and Burt Reynolds. This is a film from the year 1987. And Kathleen Turner was still hitting it strong as far as the peak of her popularity goes, with a blonde Christopher Reeve. That takes some getting used to. It didn't faze me in the 80s when I saw it, but I hadn't seen it since. And I remember this being on cable repeatedly, and I think I watched it a couple times back then. Didn't quite understand everything. I wasn't an adult. Didn't quite get a lot of the nuances. But this one is switching channels. I've come to learn that this is an adaptation of a play. And the play is called The Front Page, I believe. And a previous adaptation, also called The Front Page, was done starring Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau, which I own. I got that from Kino Lorber not too long ago. So having learned that, I get to go back and watch a previous adaptation. It's obviously going to be a lot different because this one utilizes kind of a love triangle kind of dynamic, and I'm not sure that the previous version will. There's a lot more going on around here than news, weather, and sports. That is kind of a dumb tagline, but whatever. Taglines aren't always great. This is a fun and funny film about a woman caught in the middle between an ex-husband, a future husband, her workaholic nature, and a Chicago mayoral race or governor race slash anti-death penalty crusade in a sense. But it's all over the place, and it's zany, and this is a good fun watch for any of you who have not seen it or never heard of it. Which in turn brought me to my next entry. Probably also saw last around the same time period. And interestingly, this is from 1986, so 1 year prior. We have starring Kathleen Turner and Nicolas Cage, with bit parts by Helen Hunt, and an early role for Jim Carrey and Joan Allen. This is the pseudo time travel romantic comedy Peggy Sue Got Married. It's a movie that really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's one that kind of got butchered in its translation from screenplay or script to film. There's a lot of things that were in the script that didn't make it into the film, but parts of it did. So there's a lot of kind of like loose ends and such that are dangling. I don't think the initial setup for this film was handled really well. Go away, little moth. It is essentially a story of a middle-aged woman who's unhappy in the process of divorce, has 2 adult kids, lamenting what her life has become, and suddenly and inexplicably and allegedly thrust back in time to her high school years and being faced with the prospects of making changes to her future life. What happens? I shall not tell. TV time. It occurred to me in my meanderings that probably in my early days of SumDumWatch, I was doing some Simpsons. And I picked up season 6 to watch it because it's the penultimate season of The Simpsons to a large degree, in a couple years pre and post. But I did not have season 7, so I went and bought season 7. Turned out to be a pretty rank used copy, so I went and bought another one to replace it. It was a little bit better, but I was hesitant about the condition of the discs, so I began watching to check them out, and then kind of gave up. 25% through the season, so I got 1 out of 4 discs done. I realized, you know what, I need to finish that and figure out where I stand with this thing. So I went ahead and pulled out season 7 of The Simpsons. Ay caramba. And
I used to be with it, but then they changed what it was. Now what I'm with isn't it, and what's it seems weird and scary to me. It'll happen to you.
so recently, when I was ending my long-term viewing experience with Seinfeld, I was trying to solicit suggestions from my viewers as far as what TV show to watch next. I didn't get none at all, and that's okay. So I came up with a couple options. Went through Ash vs. Evil Dead because it was short-lived. Long-term series was going to be Person of Interest, which I'm still going to be doing. But once Ash vs. Evil Dead was gone, I needed something else. I'm like, oh, quick, I'll burn through season 7 of The Simpsons. Then I got a comment from one of my regular viewers, so we're going to shout out, I don't want to get this wrong. One of my regular viewers by the name of James G4027. Regular viewer, regular commenter. Props to you, my friend. Asked me if I'd ever heard of the show Voyagers. And guess what? It just so happened it was on my shelf, and it's 20 episodes. I figured, you know what? That's the next one for my short series that I'm going to work on. So, James, that one's for you, my friend. Thank you for bringing that one up and giving me a little something to think about as far as watching it. Now, premise of this one, it's really wonky. This man hip here, Phineas Bogg is his character's name. He's kind of an idiot. And somehow, at least as of now, he is a time traveler from some undisclosed time period. And he utilizes this little device they call an Omni to travel through time. In the pilot episode, his little device malfunctions and sends him into basically the bedroom of this little 12-year-old boy here, Jeffrey. There's a lot of setup in this pilot that doesn't make any sense, right? So this is 1982. It's disclosed that Phineas's Omni is never supposed to send him into a time period past 1970. Why? We don't know. Why he did it? Because it malfunctioned. And a la Greatest American Hero, he has a guidebook that gives him instructions on how to utilize and repair this piece of equipment. Well, when Phineas materializes inside Jeffrey's bedroom, Jeffrey's dog attacks him in defense. And a struggle ensues. Jeffrey intervenes on a high-rise. So Jeffrey gets mistakenly tossed out a broken window, which Phineas broke coming in. Phineas panics, jumps out the window after him, and utilizes a machine, and poof, transports him back in time. From there forward, the machine pretty much works as it's intended to. I've gone through 5 episodes so far. But without the guidebook, Phineas can't figure out how to get the machine to work to get him back to 1982, because he's not supposed to be able to get past 1970. Doesn't have the book to fix the machine. The machine works okay, but he can't get it to malfunction again to get him back. So the whole premise behind why Phineas Bogg is traveling through time is, as a Voyager, his job, his mission, whatever you want to call it, is to travel to different periods of time in which history has gone awry and to intervene and correct. So this little machine's got 2 lights, red and green. If he pops into a time period and the machine flashes red, something's wrong. He's got to figure out what. When it's corrected, it turns green, and then he can move on. Mr. Bogg here doesn't know a whole lot about history or anything else other than women. So how it is he was a successful Voyager on his own prior to Jeffrey's involvement, you don't know. And Jeffrey is this precocious little ornery 12-year-old, I think he is, just happens to be an historical expert because his father, who has just passed away with his mother in a car accident, was a history professor. And young Jeffrey here apparently soaked up just about every historical fact known to man. So every time they pop into a time period, they look at the machine and say, oh, okay, this is where we're at. So Jeffrey's like, oh, I can tell you everything about this. He's like, okay, crap. So it's suspension of disbelief. It's silly, it's cheap, it's funny in a way. I thought I'd read somewhere that the actor that plays Phineas Bogg, his voice had been dubbed over. And I read that before I started watching it again. And now that I'm watching it, I don't remember where I read it. I can't find it anywhere. But oh my God, does his voice sound like he was dubbed over? This was just like his first acting role. But it's like you're watching him talk and you're hearing there's more deep voice like this that doesn't look like it's coming out of his mouth. It's like, okay. Yeah, 20 episodes, 15 to go. It's interesting and it's fun, and it's silly to see the different time periods and such that they visit and the things that they get involved in. They usually get involved in 2 separate time periods that are somehow tied together thematically within a single episode. And yeah, interesting times. There's a lot of logistical inconsistencies. It's 1982. Network TV science fiction. What are you going to get? Anyway, thank you, James. I mean that sincerely. That wasn't sarcasm. This is fun to revisit. I've been intending to for a long time. Last but not least, in closing, we have our sole theatrical viewing for the week. This was from Tuesday, July 22nd. 7:30 p.m. My local theater that does 1 day a week, one show at a time, what we call flashback series, which are re-releases. I saw The Goonies. Yep, okay, saw The Goonies. Good enough for me. There we go. Goonies is a movie I've probably seen in a theater 4 times in my life, and it's probably the second movie I can recall actually seeing in a theater as a kid after E.T., I think. A lot of fun. If any of you are Goonies fans and you've never seen this in the theater, I strongly recommend it. It enhances the experience as one could imagine. There are certain movies that I have loved my whole life and have watched repeatedly, but sitting down, I could have watched it 50, 100 times. If I sit down in a theater to watch it again, I will have a whole completely different visceral reaction to that film that I would never have sitting on my couch watching it on my TV in front of me. When I watch Back to the Future in the theater, which I get to do usually every year, I laugh. I don't laugh at Back to the Future anymore. I love Back to the Future, but I do not laugh at it anymore at home, ever. When I watch it in the theater, I laugh every time. Why? I don't know. It's just a different experience. It hits you different. It is what it is. Anyway, small envelopings of movies coming up here soon. To add into another episode of Some Dumb Buys, awaiting a nice, thick, large shipment from Kina Lorber to top off and finish off my spring into summer sale buying series for the year. Looking forward to those. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for experiencing my meanderings and tolerating it. What'd you think of my viewings this week? Wordbox, what did you watch this week yourself? Wordbox, say hello to Sugar and Buddy in the Wordbox. They like to read the comments too. Yeah, right. No, they don't. I shall see you next week's episode of SumDumWatch and whatever the next installment of Some Dumb Buys is. Thank you again. Good night. Bye-bye.
Alan.